Hey team, a very good morning and welcome back to another daily market update. As you can see, currently not in the office but at the airport as we are traveling. But as you know, I can never miss a market outlook, so here we are from a restaurant in the airport. But without further ado, let's just dive in and see where your USD can potentially head next, because we've seen a massive movement after seeing a shift in the overall structure and this demand zone failing. We can clearly see that the overall market has now continued its overall push in towards the downside, especially last night after news came out that it was not expected that there are going to be any rate cuts being taken place, which is ultimately bullish for a currency, and therefore EURUSD headed down lower. Now at the moment we can continue to follow the overall downtrend where we've been following the overall lower lows and lower highs. And at the moment we've now seen that the internal, let's say, pullback phase has shifted in towards the downside where this demand zone here failed. That now means that this here is your overall supply zone, the overall buy up before the strong sell down. And if we do see a retracement, for example, back towards these descending highs, from there we can then look for another potential short position in towards the downside. Now, I personally missed out on this overall move as I was waiting for the overall internal high here on EURUSD to get grabbed, to use that as liquidity to fuel the next leg in towards the downside. Sadly, we did not get there, missed out on the move itself on EURUSD. But on the other hand, for me, the dollar pairs were just not as clear as I usually like them. Hence, my focus was, for example, on an AUD JPY. And if you want to see a full breakdown of the overall longs that we took in this leg up, make sure to join the Discord server. Link is in the description of this video. Now, EURUSD in itself is currently trending in towards the downside following the next impulsive phase. And we expect this overall impulsive phase to continue until we put in a new lower low here on the blue dotted line. Any pullback is just another opportunity to look for another short. So let's see if we can identify some more short positions somewhere in the upcoming days. Do keep in mind today we have NFP, and tomorrow we also have retail sales, a services PMI and manufacturing PMI, which could cause again for a lot of volatility here on EURUSD. Personally, if I'm just very honest with you guys, I haven't really been seeing it so far for the past week on the major dollar pairs. It's just been very unclear, very choppy price action, and nothing that I really like. But sometimes it happens. At least we're not forcing any positions and taking any unnecessary losses. Now, remember yesterday, by the way, I was looking for potential long after the takeout of this low, and if we were to see a shift in the internal market structure, that shift never came. Supply here remained in control and continued to push the market down lower. If we would have broken that black line high, and then we could have taken long in towards here, after which I was very happy to take a short. But yeah, EURUSD just didn't really want to push up any higher and already decided to go down lower. So ultimately what we're now expecting is that EURUSD will follow this overall path at least in towards this blue dotted line. And it seems for now, as long as NFP or the retail sales data or the services PMI and the manufacturing PMI do not come in at, let's say, very surprising levels which are bearish for the dollar, EURUSD will just continue following its overall internal 4-hour trend in towards the downside. Now, looking at the dollar index on the other hand, the dollar, maybe I should have just been a little bit more aggressive, guys. Sometimes I also have to reevaluate what I did and what actions that I took. But as we can see, the overall impulse pullback, and again from the 0.5 fib and from the overall demand zone, that is where the market headed up higher. Personally, I was waiting for an overall order flow shift, meaning I was waiting for this supply zone over here to fill, for us then on the high break to look for the retest to then go long. Sadly, the retest never came. The retest can still come, but obviously, yeah, the dollar index is not trading at ideal levels. But if we do see a retracement in towards the downside, then I will still be happy to look for another long from, for example, that monthly open level. Now, the dollar index remains bullish, and let's see, I would love to see a push further in towards around 102 in the near future, as long as the overall market structure just remains intact. Now, going into GPUSD, GU sold off as well from that monthly open level. Again, personally not a favorite setup of mine. I would have preferred to take an NZD USD short position. It seems that GU has now broken out to a certain extent. Let's see what happens now, because this could just be another leg in towards the highs. For me, GU is still just no trading or in a no trading zone. What I'm personally just waiting for is new and more clean structure to start forming. What I would love is, for example, here a retracement and then another very strong push in towards the downside, and then I don't care if I'm not in, because in the future I then understand, hey, this is just a bump in the road which caused the overall break of structure here. We can use that as liquidity, and then this might be, for example, a monthly open or a 3 monthly open Open or whatever, with the market structure then being bearish from the high in towards the low, and then in the future on the pullback, that is then the ideal position that I will get into. So sometimes it's not bad to see the market just play out. Just wait for it to come towards you instead of forcing those unnecessary positions. So that's what I'm waiting for in GU. Just really don't like it. If it pushes up higher, great. If it pushes down lower, then also great. We will reevaluate the positions in the future. And sorry for the background noise, guys. Hope it's not too bad. Now going into AUD/USD, AU in itself indeed rated the overall lows that we were looking for. First of all, these lows that we have over here. Now obviously, as I mentioned in yesterday's session, AUD/USD is still relatively consolidative, still stuck kind of like within this overall range that we have, and I do see there to be potential for a near future pushback in towards the highs. This will be dependent on what the US data does, but if we see another push or drive down lower here on AUD/USD towards this low over here, then I'll be looking for the 4-hour change of character to then see another push in towards the upside to take out all of these descending highs. Moving on into NZD/USD. NZD/USD sold off towards our yearly open. Again, guys, I'm just being honest, I haven't been fully in sync with these dollar pairs on the current move, but we have to also be honest, it hasn't been the cleanest, and other pairs, simply being the yen pairs, were a lot cleaner, which I broke down for you inside the Discord, based on my fundamental bias as well. But here as well, we saw an overall retracement phase on NZD/USD. We didn't retrace into the 0.5 fib. We did retrace into the very first bump in the road. So this is what I mean with NZD/USD being a lot cleaner than a GU. Yes, it was relatively consolidative, but there was a clean change of character in towards the downside, and then a second one here. And yesterday's market outlook, I also said I expect this to head down lower towards the overall yearly open. Now we could see a bounce. It will depend on what the news does. I'm going to be waiting until next week. Obviously I'm traveling today, but I'll be waiting until next week to take some new positions on these pairs and see where they're at that point in time. But we're just forming new structure. Again, I would prefer to see another drive down lower than this just to be a bump in the road. And then what I would love to see happening is then on the retracement, me on that bump in the road together with the yearly open, then getting a new potential position to then short NZD/USD. This is a position that I'm then waiting for. So again, relatively similar to GBUSD, waiting for the market to come towards me, and I would be happy with another dump down lower, not fearing that I'm not in a position. I'll just wait for it to align with what I need. Now going into USD-CAD. USD-CAD is a position that I shared within the private group and within the Discord server as well. I shared another entry on this low here, targeting a new overall higher high. This position is now running around 85 pips in profit, looking to establish a new higher high. I still have my initial entry on the monthly open, which is also running in profit, which I shared on Monday of the 10th of November. And yeah, still waiting for this to push up higher. That position is running around 50 pips in profit, so just waiting for this to continue pushing up higher. And at the moment, what USDCAD, or what we want it to do, is just push up higher, break this structure clearly, form an internal liquidity low, and then on any potential retest, we can then just look for another skill and opportunity on the overall pullback. USDCHF is a position that I'm currently not in, not looking to trade, hasn't given any bearish confirmation at all. Again, if you're in this, you shouldn't be in it. Because here, demand again established. You can still see I still have the demand zones on my chart. Overall order flow just remained bullish. Never ever did it see any bearish confirmation. And obviously the dollar has been very bullish. So yeah, USDCHF ultimately has just been consolidating within a range. So again, tough price action. So don't push yourself into trending these kind of pairs, because USDCHF here on the daily time frame is not trending anymore after what was a very, very clear trend. Let's say here a clear uptrend, here a clear downtrend. Now what is it doing? It's just moving sideways. So just stay out of it and focus on pairs that are trending, such as for example USD JPY. So USD JPY has hit the yearly open level based on the weak yen. Obviously for the news that I stated inside the Discord server. Again, guys, just be inside the Discord. It's where I share most of the value and kind of like more context on the updates that I'm sharing here. But USD JPY has continued its overall leg up higher. I was looking obviously for more longs. Now that it's at the yearly open, it could start retracing. I would not be surprised if we do see in the near future a deeper retracement. But to be honest, I'm still just longs only, because the overall policy of Japan is still extremely bearish for the yen. We're seeing massive stimulus packages being released, which again, Japan is going to have to take on more debt, whilst Japan already has the highest debt to GDP ratio of all G10 currencies. So I'm still extremely bearish on the Japanese yen, and any potential pullback where we liquidate lows is just another opportunity to look for more longs. So if we do see that retracement down lower, I'm happy to look for more long positions from the overall liquidity lows, which I've drawn in over here. to be honest, not really looking to counter trend trade this. Not trying to call the top, so just wait for the retracement to happen, reaccumulation phase, and then we can look for some more longs. The only short that I would be willing to take is if we take out this high over here of 158.882. Once that high gets taken out, because this is the highest kind of like liquidity high, massive swing high, that could facilitate an overall deeper retracement if markets remain as overextended as they are now. Going into gold, last of all, we can see that gold in itself has dumped back in towards the downside. I'm looking for longs from these lower levels. To be honest, markets on these crowded trades, and with crowded trades I mean stock market, crypto, gold, very difficult, because they're just kind of like every single time they push up, they just dump even harder. But to be honest, I'm looking for a long on this. I'm waiting for some bullish confirmation. And what is bullish confirmation for me? Bullish confirmation would be a change of character once we see a shift. So here, low break. Now this here's the high. If that high breaks, boom, boom. That is then the demand zone, and then from that demand zone, I'm going to be going long myself. Okay, so these are the positions that I have and that I'm be monitoring. I'm mainly focusing on gold longs if it presents itself. For the rest, I'm focusing on the reaccumulation of USD JPY, and then for example, an NZD USD and a GPUSD, I would prefer another dump down lower, creating internal liquidity to then facilitate a future potential position. EURUSD needs to retrace, and then we could look for another short. But obviously, it's all going to be dependent on what NFP data does today and what those PMIs and what retail sales does tomorrow. So I'll keep you guys posted inside Discord. Make sure to join there. I hope the updates are good for you. And if you have any questions, let me know inside Discord. And again, yeah, AUD JPY was my top position together with USDCAD. And I think USDCAD longs, by the way, are also a good one. So yeah, thanks guys for watching, and speak soon.